Smile, folks. Cinema isn't dead yet.
Oy vey.
Joker is a masterful piece of art. It's not perfect, and it takes directly from its Scorsese inspiration. But it's a beautifully crafted, complexly written, and tremendously acted film. I've always liked Todd Phillips' tone and lack of reservation to showcase something without pulling any punches. Honestly, I don't think The Hangover would have worked if he didn't. His skills as a director truly meet their mark in this interpretation of the origin of the Dark Knight's most infamous villain. The film plays as a dramatic tragedy, showcasing the descent into darkness of society's lowest underdog, the mentally ill. Arthur Fleck is a quiet, melancholy soul looking for love and acceptance, only to be pushed down by everyone he knows and cares about. Coupled with his psychological trauma from years of abuse, he snaps and finally chooses to take control of his circumstances in the only way people will listen to him: with violence. I think the most amazing thing about this film is that you know where it's going, yet it remains mesmerizing for the entire journey. We all know the Joker becomes an unapologetic, lawless, murdering monster, but what would realistically drive any member of society to become so relentlessly cold, and yet charmingly passionate about ending life? Well, a depressed, medicated outcast is about the best guess you can make. At first, the screenplay feels a bit on the nose, due to the predictable nature of how a series of events would bring about a breaking point. There are very common things we see happen to the protagonist that happen to most sympathetic cases in films. But the film gets smarter than you the more in the head of the character you get. This is mostly because of the phenomenal performance of Joaquin Phoenix. I think it goes without saying that this film would not have worked without this specific performance. The way the emotions and physical presence of the character are showcased is so detailed and chilling. The amount of screen time and focus on Arthur makes you understand every detail of what the character's thought process is, what his motives are, and why he ends up becoming the way he does, all while making you sympathetic to his actions, however evil they may be. Many call this film dangerous because you're supposed to be sympathizing with a murdering madman, but I say that this film is necessary to better understand and feel motivated to help the mentally ill and the underprivileged members of society, not to live to see what we can selfishly take from people, and most importantly, to warn every man, rich and poor, that their actions affect others, and that some of those others are unstable and prone to do terrible things if pushed to the edge. All in all, Joker is a refreshingly honest look at the world and the human condition from the eyes of the downtrodden and hopeless cases. It is amazingly shot, paced, directed, and performed. It has some elements of writing and editing that are a little too obvious and should treat the viewer as a bit more intelligent, given the tone and writing of the vast majority of the script. The film sticks the landing, though, and continues to elevate itself to greatness the further along that you get in the movie. And it showcases the best Joaquin Phoenix performance that I have ever seen. I know everyone on the internet is saying this, but he really is the best actor working today. And he continues to get more seasoned and amazing at transforming himself into his roles as time goes on. He actually gives a great insight into this himself.
I was preparing in Los Angeles before I came to New York to start working with Todd on my own. And I found this reference for this guy, this young man. The footage looked like it was from the 60s, and he was undergoing psychiatric evaluation. And he had a really interesting way of speaking and behavior. And I started studying him, and I showed it to Todd. I said, "Is this a good reference?" And we really liked this guy. And he became kind of the foundation of Arthur. Partly in the way that he dressed, the cardigans and things like that. But I was living in a vacuum. I was just in Los Angeles. I was on my own, and I was going through the script and trying to kind of make this character work. And I got to New York, and we started shooting. And 6 weeks in was the first time I played Joker, and we did Joker for 5 days straight, I think. And after that, I came out and I looked back on Arthur, and Todd and I talked, and we felt like we'd had the wrong approach. And I just had become too fixated on this idea, and I tried to control it. And maybe there's like even a part of you that, like your ego, that you think you're doing something good. Like, oh, this is a smart idea. This is interesting. And looking back on it, when after I played Joker and I started to reevaluate the character, we realized that it was wrong. It was the wrong approach.
And you could let it go.
We had to let it go.
Yeah.
And we had to approach it differently. So it's always this balance of, like, if I hadn't done that work and approached it in that way, I don't think I would have found the Arthur and Joker that we have, right? So you have to just
kind of
go
stumble,
on the journey.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable. I mean, it's nerve-wracking and it's terrifying, and you feel like you'd wasted all this time, but it's part of the whole process.
I'll link the full interview in the description. 9 out of 10 for Joker. I highly recommend it as an amazing character study film. I think it proves that comic book movies have come of age and can be deep and bold. I really hope to see more works of art like this come out of the superhero world in the near future.